Up next on Cannacribs.
They arrested me on site, continue to raid our building.
I actually created applefritter in 2013 in my garage, actually.
It's our passion. I don't drink, I don't do anything else. I love smoking weed. To me, I call our weed adult weed.
Nutrients are abundant, water is abundant, there's no stress, just grow.
Ooh, sorry. Just checking out my Instagrams. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. I'm at Lumpys, having a ball. If you haven't heard of Lumpys, they're inventing strains here, R&D. You ever heard of applefritter, ever smoked it? Yeah, came from these walls, with a ton of other strains as well. Let's do it.
Thanks for watching. Would you like your own Cannacribs episode? What about $20,000 in facility upgrades? Well, my friend, you're in luck. Sign up today for the Cannacribs and Hawthorne sweepstakes for the chance to win. The sweepstakes ends April 2023, open to US residents excluding Florida and New York and over the age of 21. You can check out the full sweepstakes rules on the application link below. I'll also post in the comments. Best of luck.
Tails camera D.
So I'm here with Josh and Jason, co-founders and co-owners of Lumpy's Flowers. And you guys met a little bit serendipitously at a hydro store.
A mutual friend of ours, Galen, he's actually owned a hydro store in Fairfield for forever.
Still does.
20 plus years, yeah, it's still there. For a long time, I ran my own HVAC company. Josh pulls up, he's asking Galen for, who's a good AC guy, and I just happened to be there. So he introduced us, and that's kind of how we met.
Josh, when did Lumpy's Flowers really become a business?
I got raided in 2010, for cultivation and all that. Got back out, let me take a breather, let me get back into, I started flipping houses, and then around 2015, years after me and Jason had met, one day someone walks up to me and is like, "Hey, don't you know this guy?" And I'm like, "Who?" And it was Lump Status. I didn't have Instagram. Looking at his page, I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's Jason." And he had 30,000 followers. That's when the light bulb went off and I said, Jason is a very recluse person, keeps a very tight set circle. So to have 30,000 followers at that time, went in my head like, this is already a monetary thing. And about 2 years went by, Sacramento opened up and said, we're doing pre-registered buildings, and we signed a lease in 2016, but I think we legitimately became rec/commercial size in 2017. July 12, 2019 hits, and they came in, so you have 20 minutes to shut down, and so I looked at him, I said, "Man, can we do this?" And he goes, "You got 19. We cleared out and they shut the power off, and
First scramble was, what do we do with all these genetics? And in the dark, flashlights and headlamps just cut everything up, got backups of all of our genetics out, and moved them off site.
by God gracious, I don't know, someone flipped the power back on a couple of days later, and we just kept chugging along. They gave us a cease and desist, and okay, cool. I came in at 7 o'clock, seen a wood chipper. In our world, that doesn't mean anything good. They arrested me on site, continued to raid our building, took all of our plants and literally put them to the wood chipper, took all of our lights, our equipment. The whole disconnect wasn't on a cannabis permit side, it was on the building side. We had put up a couple rooms preemptively waiting for the permit to get approved. I went to jail on Wednesday. They held me until Friday. Monday morning, they approved our building permit. Bittersweet, you know what I mean? So at that point, it was just like, hey, what are we gonna do? And
now that you just took all the money that we had to do this build out, yeah, now you can build it.
You know what? This was like the Phoenix. Like, not only did they rip it apart, we had to rip it apart and rebuild it. So it kind of rose from the ashes, and then we sat there and we took everything that they gave us, and we came back and we showed them that we're not going anywhere. And here we are today. And we went from that one facility to having 3 licensed facilities in Sacramento. It was bittersweet, but it took some time to get there.
What is the mission of Lumpy's Flowers?
quality. If it doesn't taste good, it doesn't smoke good, then we're not growing it. For the most part, 90% of what we do is our own genetics, start to finish.
Where is Lumpy's flowers headed into the future?
What I think we're best at is genetics. Sometimes it's a race to the bottom with the flower. No matter how great you grow, people are just willing to sell it for cheaper because, you know, they just need to dump the product. And for us, we're not in that race. So the biggest compliment that we can see is the fact that other people grow our gear.
People have been asking me for 10 years now if I'm gonna put out seeds. And I keep saying, yeah, eventually, you know what I mean? So give everybody what they've been asking for this whole time. We have a lot of R&D going on, a lot of new flavors coming. A lot of them we just need to come up with names for.
Well, guys, on that note, I think it's time to walk through the facility.
Let's do it.
So Stu, Jason told me to come chat with you, and he said that you are a cannabis industry veteran who has been doing genetics. He has mad respect for you. Tell me a little bit about your background.
Started out as a bud tender 15 years ago. Came up through Connected, did all their breeding for years, and decided to come over to Lumpys and try my hat at some non-gelato stuff, which is pretty awesome.
You mentioned you're kind of like playing matchmaker. By matchmaker, it's like you're taking like Granny Smith apples and Fuji apples and then putting them together and creating a new apple that's maybe never seen the light of day before.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you're doing that how many times a month or a quarter?
Probably 200 to 300 crosses a year,
Yeah.
minimum.
You mentioned also that there are constraints when you're doing genetics. Can you talk about those a little bit?
Well, there's the general cultivation constraint. Something's got to be commercially viable. It's got to hit a certain weight, look a certain way for a clientele to find it appealing. And so finding something that's novel and unique but still meets those criteria, I think is sort of a neat and novel challenge.
So let's talk about what the actual process is.
Yeah, definitely. It's just a sort of the large process is just whittling down from a large number to a smaller number, and you got to dry it, smoke it, put it in a jar. So there's really no way to shortcut that, which is where a lot of companies I think get in trouble, is trying to shortcut these steps. But ultimately, if someone's going to smoke it, you're going to have to smoke it to find out if it's going to be any good or not, and then sort of work backwards from there as far as, you know, was it commercially viable? Did it produce enough to pay for itself? Does it require too much manicuring to be worth producing? So all these different criteria sort of help us whittle down, you know, to maybe 10% from the initial, and then that next 10% go on to the next round, and then we whittle that down to hopefully something that can make it on the menu. So we're gonna see how long it takes to defoliate versus its sibling, or if it finishes a week faster than its sibling, or weight-wise, there's a difference that's, you know, economically viable or whatnot.
You said you start with a large number, go down to a smaller number. How many do you start with?
Between 250 and 500.
And is that 250 to 500 like all seeds from one cross genetic?
Could be, if that's what we want to look at. It's sort of like seats. So if we want to fill it all with one team, we could, or we could mix it up and just put a bunch of free agents in there and see how they do.
Got it. When those plants are growing out, what characteristics catch your eye in a good way? And which characteristics are catching your eye in a bad way?
You know, some just have it. They have your eye from the first day, and some plants, you don't even know how they made it in the room. It's like people. You know, some people you just click with, some people you don't, some people you know why you do, some people you don't know why you do. It's kind of hippy-dippy sometimes like that. Otherwise, there's certain criteria that's quantifiable we may look for: height, size, dimensions, ratios, things like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right on. Thanks for the time, Stu.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Cool. So Jason, it's a little warm in here, huh?
It is definitely a little warm in here. Hot and humid. Just
Yeah.
the way the clones like it.
First off, like how many cultivars are you running at Lumpy's right now?
In total, between all three of our facilities, we're running about 25 to 30 different flavors at any one time. If anything's growing better at a particular facility, we'll end up running it there. If something's growing better at this facility, we'll end up running it here.
Yeah, we have touch base on the apple fritter side because like That is a strain that I think most, people who smoke cannabis know of applefritter.
Absolutely.
And you guys are the genesis of applefritter. That is like your
100%.
strain.
Yeah.
So let's chat about that for a second.
I actually created applefritter in 2013 in my garage, actually. It's a cross of sour apple and animal cookies throughout the whole cycle. I didn't think anything took. But once I got it done, broke it down, dug through everything, I ended up finding 4 seeds. 2 of which, one was applefritter, and then the other was the reckless rainbow. So those 2 are sisters, and the other 2 didn't make it. So pretty damn good odds. Absolutely.
We should definitely be doing the scratch off.
No, for sure. Yeah, play the lottery. Yeah, you don't see odds like that very often, for sure. It's everywhere. So worldwide.
Tell me about like what your philosophy is for like growing and keeping mothers and cloning.
We like to constantly cycle out new moms. Roughly every 120 days, a mom is going to get killed off, and we have clones that are planted around day 75. We have stuff to come in right behind them. So generally, we try and take cuts off of them about every 2 weeks to give them time to kind of recover, and just really all about giving good, healthy clones.
So Jason, now you have your mothers, they're between 75, 120 days. You're taking cuts from them. Then they come into this room.
Correct.
Tell me a little bit about that.
We take more clones than we need because we only want to put the best of the best into the veg room. We're taking about 14 to 1,600 cuttings, and in the long run, we end up using about 900 to 1,000 of those per room. So it's all about redundancy.
It looks like you guys are using like some type of peat plug, and you're doing like how many clones per tray?
Correct. It's a mix of cocoa and peat. Typically they come 50 in a tray, but we take half of them out and we only run 25 per tray. And the reason for that is to give the plants more space to grow, less overlapping and moisture issues. So yeah, we do want to acclimate them to the environment, and then around 8 to 10 days, the domes will come off. They'll stay in here for another 2 to 3 days. By day 14, they're in the veg room.
Well,
like clockwork. Yeah.
Well, let's check out that veg room.
All right, let's go.
Do it.
Hello, I'm Chuck from Lumpy's Flowers. There's been a academic study in Canada proving that by snipping the fan leaves less, you get a higher success rate, and they root a lot faster versus cutting them up and putting just a little lollipop in a cube. When you leave them whole, they just do their thing naturally, and when you cut them, they're trying to heal. They transpire. It's breathing in CO2, and it's expelling, does its little ebb and flow. Keep it at a minimum. You don't want to just keep shocking it through the whole process. It's going to be a stunted little plant that won't do anything at the end.
And still we did everything by they damn book, and rated us and treated us like we some damn crooks. We just some farmers, it's the shit that make my heart grow out so larger. I'm a businessman, but still I'm down to go out as a martyr. Is this the shit we dreamed since we was 16? Popped our first seed. We don't speak the same language, all I speak is terpene. But let's ask Mr. Nixon if this is what he envisioned smoking schedule.
So Jason, we're here in the bedroom. This room looks super uniform. Love it. Let's talk about how long the plants are going to stay in here and how you treat them. So
everything over here is, on a really tight schedule. 14 days from clone, 14 days here in the veg room. These particular plants are at day 4 right now. Just had their initial irrigation on day 1. They won't get hit again until tomorrow. We always water to run off on the first one, and then we get that really hard dry back to allow the roots to really set in. Then typically we start going for a 1-hour feed. 8 times a day, they'll get watered every hour. And it just really gives the plants that signal that nutrients are abundant, water is abundant, there's no stress, just grow.
Got it. I mean, and what concentration of nutrients are you feeding when they're at this stage of growth?
So at this stage of growth, we're pretty much hitting them with a solid 2.4 EC of the Lumpy's veg formula. We tend to bump it up to about 2.6, 2.7 in flower.
Got it.
Yeah.
In terms of environment, like what do you guys like keeping your veg environment at? Let's talk about like temp and humidity, and does that change over the 14 days?
The temperature setting stays pretty much the same. We try to keep it about between 80 and 82 degrees in here. Humidity wise, we're aiming for about 70% humidity. In the beginning, it's a little hard to get when you don't have humidifiers in your rooms, but as the plants begin to grow, they transpire more. They're letting off more water, and we're up at about 68, 70% by day 5 or 6.
What about light levels in veg? Like what ppfd or light intensity you like having at the canopy?
Typically around 200 ppfd. We don't really go too high in the veg cycle. We're using the Gavita lights here, and we have metal halide bulbs in them. It's got that blue spectrum to it, which really gives you, you know, that nice compact growth. The plants love it. They look really healthy under it. They're really nice because they're all hooked up to our controllers out there. It's, you know, got high temperature shut off, obviously, because we're in a dark room 2 minutes ago because we're trying to keep the sound levels down by shutting off the AC. And once you go above 85, then there we go. Yeah. Everything shuts down. So then we have to wait 15 minutes to come back in here and film.
Shut down the set for 15 minutes.
Yeah, why not? You know what I mean? That's actually the way I've grown for most of my life is in straight cocoa. But obviously on a scale like this, best thing to do is pots on drippers, and they actually are able to slide right through flower in the same 1 gallon pot and just keep that dry down consistent.
When we peeked in your flower rooms, it's like they actually look kind of similar to this, and it's like the same number of plants per row.
Correct. So it's technically it's a little less plants in the flower room because we actually overplant these rooms. So there's actually 1,280 plants to plant a 900, almost 1,000 plant flower room. There's tend to be a lot of healthy plants left over. We'll use those as cuttings for either here for our facility or over at our Phoenix facility or our Blackout facilities.
It's like sports, man. It's like every time you go up a tier.
Absolutely.
Like you make the cutoff.
Is this one sitting on the bench or is it going out to play? Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Sitting on the Botanicare bench?
Yeah.
They're gonna, you know, make it to.
Speaking of Botanicare benches, yeah, I actually really like these. We've used several different rolling benches throughout our years of growing, and honestly we're getting ready to replace our benches at our other facility with the Botanicare benches. They're solid. I mean, these things are built like a tank, you know what I mean? It's got solid framing, they roll really easy. Our other ones tend to make like these little divots in them and they get stuck, and these are solid. I've been really happy with these. Yeah, no, these are fantastic.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, I think next up we get to see some of those all-stars in the flower room, you know?
Absolutely. Let's go. Let's check it out, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, when I was 12, I was cut for my soccer team. They fucking got rid of my ass. Cried like a little bitch. 12 years old. Look, dude, there were 14 people on the team. They cut 2.
At least it wasn't just you. Let's say that, you know?
Yeah. I was pretty proud of myself. I'm much better at other shit.
Hey, but just think of it this way. A lot of the plants that we cut out are fantastic plants, all right?
That's right. I'm still a good guy. I just may not be the best.
But look where it's gotten you now.
There you go. Yeah.
It's true.
You're fucking hosting Cannacribs, dude.
Exactly.
I had to create it to host it.
Sometimes that's how it works, you know what I mean?
So let's chat about these flower rooms, dude. I mean, these plants are looking great. How many cultivars do you have in this flower room right now?
We usually typically run 1 per row. Most of the other rooms are all 4 rows. Those last 2 rooms are 5 rows. So we try to veg them all 1 row and then bring them into the flower room in all 1 row.
Looks like you have 3 drippers per plant. Maybe they're in like 2-gallon pots.
Actually, we run 3 on the outside and 2 on the inside. Due to the wind factor, the ones on the outside usually seem to dry out a little bit faster, so we come to find out adding an extra dripper in there kind of keeps everything more consistently when we water. So that's why you'll see 3 on the outside, 2 on the inside. Each row is going to be a little bit different depending on strain, height, how fast do they dry back, how bushy is it, how tall is it, how much are they needing per. So we'll adjust it from there. This is like the right size room, I think, on a commercial level.
I mean, how many total square feet is Lumpy's?
Between built out and projects being built out, we're probably right around 120,000 square feet.
Damn.
That's a long way from 2 garages, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's been a journey over the last 5 years for sure.
That's a lot of rent, probably a lot of electricity.
Yes, that's a big chunk of money each month. To run a place like this, it's no joke. Yeah, so yeah, definitely power bills. Now that you mentioned that, you know, that's one thing we go out of our way. We recycle our water here. As you see, all the plumbing lines are here coming from our DUs. Our 506s, Quests they're beasts. You know, they're on 277 now, which is nice. They're super efficient. We have 4 in each room. So those things we lean on like there's no tomorrow. So those things kick ass. Actually, we got a rebate for the state of California using those. So the rebate was right around $100,000 rebate through incentive programs through the state of California. So depending on what state you're in, you know what I mean? Yeah, that definitely came in handy when, you know, helping pay for these things to begin with. So that's something I would definitely look into.
Yeah, dude, you guys probably work with Bob Gunn from Synergy. He does like all the rebates throughout the whole country.
Yep, they came out and basically walked through your whole facility, kind of see what equipment you're using, what you can switch out to get a rebate, what you've already bought and you can rebate, or anything that you're going to purchase in the future. They can give you a list and say, hey, before you do that, fill this out and you get a rebate. You know, every dollar counts, you know what I mean? Whether you're big corporate or just bootstrapping it, you know what I mean? Like, every dollar counts. So when it comes to stuff like that, we're usually on it. If someone can come in and help you fill out the paperwork, even better, you know?
Many different facilities are running plants. Like sometimes they run 10 weekers, 8 weekers, 9 weekers. What's your guys' philosophy over here?
We like to balance between the two worlds of, you know, craft cannabis, but also being a commercial business. So we've come to find like the happy medium is just 8 weeks, finishing in 58 to 62 days, 64 days max. You grow a 9-week plant and you have 8 rooms, you're listing out a whole harvest, you know, per year, which is gonna be a lot of money. So yeah, we stick to true 8-week plants is what we like to say.
What are some of the things you guys do that just like speak to the efficiency that you guys have at this operation?
Most people are, you know, harvest one day, plant the next day. And it's, you know, that extra time adds up. We like to harvest and replant the same day. Flipping your room in one day is huge for us.
No, that's good. So the room's coming down every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday, and then every couple months we'll have a double harvest here in the same week.
It's taste testing every week.
Every week, yes. No, it's that gets to be daunting. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I throw a couple sacks to a couple of the employees. Hey, go take these home, get some notes from me. So, you know, we're very much bringing other people into the fold because it takes a village to actually find a good one and then name it.
Well, shit. Appreciate the time, Josh. I think we gotta see what's up next.
Okay.
This is one of my favorite rooms. And actually, this is the only room that had absolutely no design on our plans. No plumbing, nothing. Just started throwing tanks, kind of laying them out where we want them, putting pipes up on the wall. We tend to keep it about 65 degrees in here. After it runs through the Netaflex and into the tanks, it'll generally keep the water around 68. And usually by the time it gets to the room, it's right around 70 degrees. Which is about what we're looking for.
Yeah, for the proper amount of oxygen in the water.
Absolutely, yep.
Got it. So this room came together a little organically, even though it looks really planned out. Let's talk about what you have in here to make this whole facility run.
First and foremost, our freshwater tanks, which is filtered coming in through the city. After our morning fill-ups every day, this will refill, gives it several hours to reacclimate to the room, cool down.
And how much water storage you guys have?
So we have 4,000 gallons here, and we tend to run through about 3,000 gallons of it every day. From there, it actually goes off through this dab pump over here, which feeds off to our Netaflex over here. The Netaflex draws our A and our B formula for our flower nutrients, automatically mixes them, and then we've got 14 valves, which goes to one of our 14 tanks, which all then have their own individual dab pumps that lead to all 14 of the grow and flower rooms out there.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So how does the Netaflex system work? Do you just program in like how many milliliters per gallon, or what exactly is it going for?
And it can run by volume or it can run by EC. We just have it running by volume. We're generally running our nutrient solution at a certain milliliters per gallon. We just dial that in using an EC meter, make sure we're drawing equal amounts of the A and the B, and we're off to the races. What we do is we program it the day before. If there's any like small amounts of water left in them, they'll all dump. And then when we come in, it's automatically on, running, filling the tanks for us. It's ready to go when everybody gets here. And then it ends up saving us, you know, a lot of labor and a lot of time for our employees, allows them to get out there and do other things that need to be done. We do check our EC and our pH before it goes out to the room, but all we're doing is coming in and double checking. Spend 30 minutes in this room every morning instead of 4 or 5 hours. You know what I mean? It's a huge time saver. What's up, guys? My name's Jason, aka Lumpy. I'm here to talk to you about our new strain, Jane Doe. It's a cross of our Frank Bank and our Cherry Jane. It's really two of our gassiest strains. They kind of come together to make a really gassy, but also kind of a doughy, creamy flavor. It's one of my favorite strains that we got coming out right now. It grows vigorously. It stacks nice, tight buds. Color is beautiful on it. It's definitely going to give you more of that couch lock high, really just kind of put you out for the evening. So it's definitely one of those, you know, strains that's definitely better for the nighttime. We actually just got some R&D results back on it. THC percentages are coming out. 32%, the terpenes on it is where it's really at. So we're getting about 3.5% terpenes on that flower. Personally, I care about terpenes more than THC. I can always smoke more if I need to get higher, but if the flavor's not there, I'm not gonna wanna smoke it.
So we're hanging out in the drying room now. You know, everyone has a little bit of a different way they handle drying. So what are you guys doing here that you really like?
We like to keep it dark for one, good airflow. We took our DUs, our Quest 506s, we put them outside the room to duct them in, so that way we can control the environment even better in here. A lot of people just hang them in here, which is fine, but you still get a little bit of hot spots there and there. So we duct those in, and then each grow room has its own independent 10-ton system, so that we're able to drop this room down to 58 degrees if we want to.
So then how long are the plants really hanging out in this room before they go to the next phase?
Wintertime slows down the process a little bit more, so sometimes it's about, close to 17 days, but on average, we'd like to stay around that 12 to 14 day mark.
God.
Don't get me wrong, the door's closed, everything's sealed, but like I said, the outside environment definitely affects it. We hand trim everything. We've actually played with a couple of the machines as far as for the smaller buds, like, hey, can we save money and just do that? Because those are gonna go into pre-rolls anyways. And even them, it just doesn't seem to quite fit the bill. So for us, everything's hand trimmed, hand bucked, hand selected, and hand gone through as far as A's and B's. It's not sent down a processing machine. These things don't go into a weighing machine. Like, that's just not the way that we choose to do it around here.
Got it. So let's chat about this trimming room. You got a whole bunch of people in here. How many people you got?
We have about 35 full-time trimmers. As we've grown over the years, we've brought on more and more trimmers. My brother, my cousin, my mother, my this and that. So, you got 3 different generations kind of working in a room sometimes or throughout a grow. It's pretty cool. So yeah, now we've got close to 40 people that have grown with us over the last 5 years, and, started out carpooling to now everybody has their own car. So, it's nice to see people expand and grow as you do.
Yeah, get elevated in their career.
Exactly.
And usually trim is like high turnover aspect of many cultivation sites and things like that.
We're kind of like that with every position, not just the trimmers, but we see the value in the person versus just getting someone in to do that job. Like, not everybody's gonna do the same job the same way. So we really try to take our time and invest in the right people for the right places.
Yeah, and all the flour coming out of here, it's going into like basically bulk, small package, like just flour or pre-rolls?
Usually sizes depicts on pre-rolls or eighths. Like I said, old school. So we set standard. Our trimmers know anything smaller than a nickel goes into our smalls. All of our pre-rolls are actually made from actual bud, not shake, not the bottom of the bag, like actual nugs that, that we have to grind up and put into the pre-rolls. And then the quality depicts on where it's going, bulk sales, our bags, or our plan B. We want to put out something that we'd actually smoke and something that we're actually proud of. So that all kind of ties into everything that we're doing here.
Legit.
You know that tasty applefritter. Now this is the historic part. Was shut down and chasing dreams, but it was in the dark. Was looking ugly, but still my team ain't fall apart. Now we don't accept your conversation unless you speak over 100 large.
So Jesse, Jason told me that you guys know each other for like a long time. Is that correct?
15 years now. I wasn't good at growing, but I was great at selling. I knew a lot of people. Basically, he was like, hey, I got a bunch of this stuff. And I was like, hey, I got a bunch of friends that love to buy that stuff. Jason grew some of the best weed that we knew. Just kind of built that relationship up together.
Yeah. So what's your role here at the facility now?
I do head of sales. We always stay in our lanes, like Jason grows. Just kind of give ourselves a break from having to do too many roles. So dealing with all the customers, dealing with retail, dealing with bulk sales, and all that good stuff that we've been doing for a long time now.
From what I understand, the Lumpy product, it's like most of the stuff you grow here really goes into like just flour sold on shelves and eighths. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Most of our flowers is always on eighths. We started doing half ounces about a year ago. You gotta have pre-rolls, you gotta have 8 half ounces, you gotta have a bunch of different stuff. So what we smoke is what we sell. It's our passion. I don't drink, I don't do anything else. I love smoking weed. To me, I call our weed adult weed. It's like drinking fine bourbon. It's not gonna give you a hangover.
For sure. So that packaging room, looks pretty productive. People jamming out some music. How many eighths you guys pumping out of there?
So we do an average between 700 to 1,000 a day. Everything we package is within a week. So we're actually one of the freshest weed too. That's the other thing, is that in this industry, you can't have stuff that's sitting around for a month or two. Everything is changed. That's the biggest thing I was saying about consumers. You have 6 months of one flavor and they're already on to the next. So we're actually pumping out different genetics all the time, and that's where we're seeing a big rise in our sales in that part.
Yeah.
We're also one of the few, we want people to be able to buy weed at a good price. We're actually competing with the streets. Our prices for consumers, we want them to be able to walk out of a dispensary with taxes $40 to $50 out the door, which I grew up on my whole life buying that. That's what your normal price is. The $70, $80 per eighth is just something that's going away.
Yeah. And speaking of that, you guys sell like those 3 packs of pre-rolls, which come with like 3 different strains every time. You want to try Lumpys out, maybe buy some of those pre-rolls. You try 3 different flavors and then see what you like.
We're one of the few companies that give credit to everybody. West Coast Cures were the first ones to do that. Have a hybrid, an indica, and a sativa. That way you can try 3 different flavored Lumpys. And if you do find something that you like, you'll be able to buy that eighth and be like, that's the one I want to get. We're kind of just changing the philosophy. We're going to start doing like a summer or spring, summer, fall lineup. And then we have a fall, winter lineup. Because I mean, I think people want, like in the winter times, people want that indica. Summertime, they want that sativa. So we kind of started changing it.
Yeah, it's like pumpkin spice latte or mojito.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. That's exactly what we're doing.
What you're packaging now is pretty eye-catching.
Yes.
Like you see it on the shelf, you can be like, okay, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, with the trays that we have, what's cool about them, we put plastic trays so it doesn't damage your bud, and you could actually stand up our packaging instead of having to put a punch a hole or anything. You could just literally stand it up, and it makes it a lot easier on that.
Oh, that's rad. I actually haven't seen that before.
Yeah. I actually saw it from a Vallejo rapper.
Vallejo?
Yeah.
What's that?
It's a city. So one of my friends, he had picked up a packaging and it had a tray in there. And I was like, you know what, this is a dope idea. And then our buddy Caleb from Mainstage actually bought a bunch of them, and we kind of just started, hey, this is what we're going to do too.
So Jesse, you guys do something that not a lot of cannabis companies do in California, which is your own distribution and own outside sales team.
We do our own distribution because we can control our own product. One of the biggest things that you hear from a lot of retailers is they don't want to compete down the street. We don't want to have 20 stores that are within a mile of each other trying to compete. We want to be exclusive. We're not trying to oversaturate the market. A lot of our retailers love that idea that we're not selling to everybody. We sell to people we have a good energy with. We want companies that also understand the consumers, that they're there for them. We don't have outside investors. We want to control everything that we do.
Jesse, you run a really impressive operation back here in sales and distribution. Mad impressed.
Well, thank you, man. That just comes from a great team. I mean, like I said, we have great employees that are just happy to be here. Our inventory manager, Will, he works his butt off. Devin is just great. Brian does a great job of leading. Alyssa, Becky, we have all these people who've been around and they stuck around and they bust their butt, you know? Yeah.
Good team.
Yeah, good team. Yeah.
Jesse?
Thank you, Nick.
And pay attention how it started from a garage to a building worth 10 million. I never dreamed of this feeling. To be in this position, we took so many L's, now they always calling us winners.
Crazy to think how fortunate some of us have been. Hopping 4 seeds that led to applefritter, my signature. Enjoying the process of getting better each and every day. That is what the game is about. That is what the game is about.
What's up, big dog? You ready?
I'm ready. You turn the lights off?
Yeah.
You turn the lights off?
Yes.
All right, man, let's roll.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I think. Yeah, dude, that's a long ass hallway, bro.
I'm gonna hit this blunt.
My signature. Enjoying the process of getting better each and every day. That is what the game is about. That is what the game is about.
I got a cute little moment coming up here, but saving that for later, right?
Right.
This short thing, if anyone gives me shit, Marco's idea, okay? I heard Robin Williams, dude, he once said, he's like, dude, this guy got disqualified in the Olympics for snowboarding and he had weed in his system. They should give him a fucking platinum medal for winning the Olympics,
Exactly.
getting gold while being high.
I agree. Michael Phelps, same thing.